Hey leader, Dave Burkus here, organizational psychologist and author of 4 best-selling books on helping leaders and teams do their best work ever. And in this episode, we're going to talk about how to get more feedback at work. Feedback is vitally important. Feedback really is the breakfast of champions, as the saying goes. Feedback is vitally important to improving performance, but also making sure that employees and yourself are fully engaged. We want to know how we're doing, where we can improve, and especially we want to know where we're making progress in order to be engaged in the task, in order to be more motivated to do the task, and then in the end to do a better job. But feedback is lacking in most workplaces. I blame the annual performance review, which is weird because it was a very well-meaning system when it was developed. I mean, the idea here in the United States where I am, the annual performance review actually started in the US federal government because the idea was there in the soul-draining bureaucracy of government. There, people weren't getting enough feedback, and so they said, well, at the very least, we should be giving people feedback on an annual basis. And somehow that turned into the standard, the way we were giving people performance ratings and also feedback on their performance turned into annual. Some companies, some forward-thinking companies, maybe went to semi-annual or quarterly, but very few, for the longest time, very few went further than that. And for busy managers, for busy leaders and senior leaders, right, there's so many other things they need to be worrying about. Making sure to have a frequent and ongoing check-in conversation with all of the people that are in their charge. That's really easy to push off to the next week and the next week. And it's really easy to push off to never if you know that someone from HR is going to make sure you do it at least once a year or twice a year. And that's why I think the number one reason people don't get enough feedback. We're busy, and we feel like we've got it covered at a bare minimum, so it's okay to put that on the back burner and not do it as often. But for you, whether you're an individual contributor, a teammate, or whether you're leading a team and you're looking for more feedback about how that team is doing, you are probably wanting more feedback. I mean, it's part of the reason that you're watching or listening to this episode. But the truth is almost everybody wants a bit more feedback so they know how to improve. So in this episode, we're going to talk about 4 ways that you can get more feedback at work, some of which require you to have an interaction with your boss or one level up or your teammates. Others are things you could do on your own by yourself if you just need more ways to get feedback. Let's get started. So the first way to get more feedback at work is to work louder. And I don't mean to say that the onus for feedback is on you and the reason you're not getting is that, right? It could be on them. It could be on your boss, your manager. It could be on the company culture that's not really all that feedback laden. I get it. But in the reality that we're at, if you're not getting enough feedback, one of the things you can do is make sure people are noticing the work you're doing more often. That if you're regularly meeting your goals, delivering on your deliverables, that's a weird way to say that. If you're regularly doing the things that are being asked of you to do and you're still not getting any feedback, it's probably because you're reliable. It's because people know you're going to do a good job and therefore they don't really need to give you as much feedback. But if you're doing that good job and you're reporting back more often, it's going to do one of 2 things, right? The first is that every time you report back, maybe it's the end of the week, you say, hey boss, here's what I worked on this week. Or you say to a senior leader, here's what our team is focused on this week or next week, etc. You're going to get some response, right? You're going to get a small scale response. And hopefully in that response, you also have the opportunity to ask for questions and potentially get feedback on past work, etc. But again, if you're reliable, if people just know I can assign you or your team a task and then I don't need to worry about it, they're going to think as long as they hear nothing from you, everything's okay and they don't need to give you any feedback. So make sure they hear from you, not just hear from you when you need help, but hear from you often so you have that conversation often. Work louder. Now, the next way you can get more feedback at work is to ask teammates, peers, maybe leaders of other teams. You don't always need to get feedback from somebody above you. I mean, we've known this for a while. This is the whole point of sort of 360-degree feedback. But one of the things that gets underutilized is feedback across, feedback laterally, feedback from teammates or people who manage other teams. Now, often this isn't going to take the place of, can you judge my performance and give you feedback? So it might be more like asking for advice. It might be more like, here's what we're working on, what suggestions do you have, etc. But going laterally opens up the opportunities for people or just the sheer number of people who you can give feedback. So think about the ways you can engage conversations with teammates or conversations with other people that'll help you either figure out where you're struggling, come to them with things that are blocking your progress, or even just say, here's what we're doing. Am I missing anything? Are you seeing anything that I'm missing? Will engage you in conversations that will turn into feedback conversations much more. If you're not getting enough feedback from the people who are supposed to be coaching you and developing you, ask your teammates. They're there, and there's a whole lot more of them than that one, maybe two people above you whose job it is. So bring it to the team and you'll get a team's worth of feedback. Now, the next way that you can get more feedback doesn't involve anyone. It's just to measure more. Right? Depending on what you're working on, depending on how you're leading the team, there may be some things that aren't actually getting measured all that much. Right? Like, are you measuring how much one-to-one interactions you're having with the people in your charge? If you're not a leader and you're watching this, what are the things that you actually want to do? Do you want more focused time to work on projects that actually matter? Well, measure the amount of time you're spending in your email inbox. Right? Do you want to be a more empathetic leader inside of teams? Do you want to be one that is asking more questions than they are giving advice, that is seeking to understand your people more? Well, measure, or have somebody you trust measure, the amount of times you're asking questions in a meeting, even if it's a one-on-one meeting, versus giving advice or making statements. Anything that you want to improve upon can probably be measured in some capacity. And if you're wanting more feedback and you're not getting it from the people around you, get it internally. Measure more, and you'll learn where the places you can grow and improve on. So think about your job and think about what you can measure more. And the last way that you can get more feedback at work is to not even get feedback at all. It's to get what my friend and a mentor to me, Marshall Goldsmith, coined as feed forward. It's basically advice. Right? So we think that feedback has to come on a regular basis. Feedback is part of a one-on-one coaching session, if your organization's even doing that, or feedback is the annual performance review system, etc. But feed forward is more about advice on how you can improve your performance looking forward, not looking retroactively on what's been done. That actually makes it more relevant because it's easier to put it to use and improve performance with it, but it also makes it more plentiful. The way you get feed forward is you go to one person or you go to lots of different people and you say, hey, here's what I'm about to engage on. What advice do you have for me? Here's what I'm about to start doing. Here's the project we're focusing on and the way that we're going to engage in that project. Here's where we are. Here's where we're headed. What would you suggest? And then listen as that person gives you their advice. Now, the trick with feed forward, of course, is that you don't know whose advice you want to apply, so you have to ask lots of different people. But in doing that, you're going to find one or two nuggets of information from each person that you can actually apply that's relevant to your situation that'll help you improve performance. Now, regardless of what those people say, you need them on your team, you need them in your leadership roles, etc. And so when they give you that advice, when they give you that feed forward, there is only one response, which is thank you. I learned that from Marshall Goldsmith. If somebody's going to take the time to give you their advice, to give you their perspective, to help you improve, the only appropriate response is thank you. Not only because it's the nice thing to say, but because it ensures that you're be able to go back to that person with more feed forward. You don't have to implement their advice, and you certainly don't have to implement their advice, even if you say thank you. Thank you is not a commitment to doing things the way you're going to do it. It's an appreciation of the fact that they took the time to give you that advice. So thank you is not a commitment, it's a complete sentence. Say it often when you use feed forward, which is another way of getting feedback on prospective projects, and something you can ask for a whole lot more than the after action reviews, the annual performance appraisals that do backward looking feedback. If you want more feedback at work, feed forward. Now, I realize that what all four of these methods have in common is that they put the onus on you for feedback. Yes, in an ideal situation, managers would be trained less on how to fill out a form every year and more on how to coach their employees on a regular basis. But for a lot of organizations, we're not there yet. And that change actually does have to start with you. That means that you have to put into play one of these strategies to get more feedback. But as you do, and as you improve your performance, and as you grow in the organization, and as you take on more leadership roles, here's what I want you to remember. Just because you had to put the onus on you to get more feedback doesn't make an excuse. As soon as you get more responsibility, as soon as you get higher up the org chart or whatever it is, it's going to be really tempting to think, oh, well, I've got so much to do, and I know that the annual performance review is coming, so I'll put feedback from my people on the back burner. Don't be the problem you just solved for yourself. Yes, you got to take it on you to get more feedback at work right now. But when that feedback turns into you in a leadership role or a bigger leadership role, remember what you had to do and make it easier for all of the people underneath you to get more feedback at work. If you do that, not only will you become the best version of a leader that you've ever been, your people will be able to do their best work ever. Hey, thanks so much for watching this video. If you liked it, make sure you're subscribed to the channel. And if you really liked it and you want to go deeper, then check out the resources we have for you and your team at davidburkus.com/resources. Guaranteed there's something in there that'll help you do your best work ever.